These days, it's so hard to keep up with the latest trends in masculinity. Which things are and are not effeminate and therefore gay. How to know whether you're embodying the mindset of an alpha male, a beta male, or a sigma male, the rarest male type. Which pseudoscientific scams are going to give me the best bang for my buck in terms of improving my physiognomy, a word I'd never heard until I watched an unhinged rant from a guy on YouTube who probably uses 3-in-1 shampoo, body wash, and conditioner, if indeed he does shower at all, which he shouldn't, because washing your dick is gay. Like all problems, the market has a solution for you. If you're a tough boy willing to go through some rough boy training, you can gain the proportionate strength, speed, and agility of a man. And not just any man, mind you, a knight in shining armor. Today I'd like to talk about the modern-day Knight Project, a training regime offered to men in order to... Well, I'm not sure what it does exactly, but it makes them manlier. I know that much. It's like what they did to Mulan in Mulan. I have not seen Mulan, but it's like that, I think.
The project is a 75-hour experience. The project is not an experience. It's for men just like you who know that you're meant for more, who know that you might have areas in your life that you're not performing at your highest level. It's also a process. It's like administering chemotherapy to a cancerous area of the body. The physical challenging that you go through is purpose-driven to help you become the man you know in your deepest heart that you're meant to be. Every single evolution is purpose-driven. And all we're going to do as instructors over the next 75 hours is administer the project. No different than a doctor would administer chemotherapy to a cancerous body part. You have to be able to control your emotions, because the moment you shut down and you let those thoughts come in and the self-talk begins, and the self-talk is never, yay, you got this. What did you do? Why did you sign up for this?
I was able to leave with more confidence, more faith in myself. My family feels more secure, and my finances, I feel like I have more control to be able to make the decisions that will allow me to propel much further than I had self-limiting beliefs on those aspects.
Whoa, holy shit, that's so badass. That's so cool. They looked cool and good in that clip. Do we have any other footage? Any other footage to show?
Go!
I think we can all agree that what we just saw was peak masculinity. Men in this modern-day world need 3 skills: withstanding scrapes and boo-boos, the ability to endure cold temperatures, and yelling until they're beat red in the face at other men in parking lots. Having those things is going to make you more confident, more attractive to women, more well-adjusted in general. This, to me, this is the picture of mental health. You can trust these guys with your safety as you go through all sorts of things they admit are dangerous and likely painful. You don't got to take it from me. You can see for yourself here on their website that I think was designed by the Time Cube guy. I'm just going to scroll down this website and just, how long do you think I'll be scrolling? Take a guess. Pretty long already, isn't it? No way it could go much longer than this, right? No way. Their logo has a skull with a Viking helmet, and they do a bunch of shit with axes, so it seems more like at some point they were going for a Viking theme rather than a knight theme, but I imagine they didn't want to call it the modern-day Viking project because, like, Vikings were famous for bathing, and that would turn off their target demo. Despite appearances, I think if people want to improve themselves, that's great. It's not for me, but if that's your thing, go for it. If people gain confidence from enduring difficult challenges, more power to you. I think that's wonderful. If this were simply an exercise program that was very difficult, designed to be really hard and punishing, and people, were adults and they could just choose to do that if they wanted, that's fine. That's not what this is. This is a scam. They are quite obviously using the same methods that a cult might use to attract, ensnare, and brainwash vulnerable people. It's just that a cult would hide it rather than making it their value proposition. Attention! The Modern Day Knight Project is only for entrepreneurs, executives, and leaders who are ready for a serious breakthrough. This exclusive experience isn't for anyone who's just starting their self-development journey. This in-depth experience is for men who are seriously ready and tired of making excuses. This program is marketed to the specific intersection of people who are already successful in business, who already have money, but also feel alienated and insufficient. They are selecting for people who believe all of their problems are just their own fault, and to complain is to simply make an excuse. Like, for example, if you were to complain that their course was bullshit, that's an excuse. That's the type of person who's not ready. They don't want that kind of guy. And you can tell it's important to them because this exact text is written out twice on the website. Sorry, did I say twice? I meant 6 times. Here's the project founder explicitly advising his followers to ignore other people's thoughts and opinions, such as, for example, say, a warning that you don't need to give him money. And I don't want to get too distracted here by Bedros' Twitter page, but just a little tasting for you.
Listen, if you are an entrepreneur, you have a product or a service, then you got 2 very important things you got to do. Number 1, you got to make sure this damn thing makes a lot of money and makes you a lot of profits. The reason is you didn't become an entrepreneur to work 24/7 only to make 9 to 5 kind of income, right? So if you're not making the kind of money you want, you better start figuring out how to do that.
Make money, you say? Can't believe I never thought of that. I'm glad I followed you for this stunning insight.
Number 2, if you truly believe you have a great product or service, it's better than anything else out there. You have a duty and an obligation to promote it, to share it, to showcase testimonials, before and afters, transformations, case studies. And if you don't, then you are literally telling your future customers to go buy an inferior product or service from someone else, and you're really doing bad by them.
Hold on, let me grab a pen. You're telling me that products and services can be advertised? Speaking in my capacity as an alien from space who just landed on Earth, you should give him a bunch of money so that he'll yell at you to make you more business. One tip-off that the Modern Day Night Project is not on the up and up is that for as long as I've been looking at this website, which is many weeks at this point, all of their classes are sold out, except for the last 2, which only have a few spots left. You better act now. Here's a little web safety tip from me to you. If you ever see that on a website, do not buy anything there. Just trust me on that. Put away your credit card, because if the thing was worth buying, they wouldn't need to sell it to you that way. Also, the heading is previous class lists, so don't know why some of them are in the future. Also seems like the ones that are sold out are only sold out in the sense that you can no longer buy tickets because they already happened. They market their program specifically as a way to cure mental illness. Not a mental illness, mind you, just the abstract concept of mental illness, to cure addiction, to overcome trauma or depression or whatever. All with the weasel wording you might expect that gives them an out when you inevitably don't. Because you won't. You're going to flip this switch and suddenly all your problems will be gone. Whatever your problems happen to be, just project your problems onto this program. Those are the ones we'll fix, yours specifically. What a coincidence. My problems are my problems. You know what's interesting, though, about that, though, is that among their listed top staff, they don't seem to have psychology degrees or like there are any medical professionals whatsoever, like one might want for a program designed specifically to cause pain and mental anguish in people. If you think I'm exaggerating about the idea that the program is designed to create pain and mental anguish in people, I should mention they do have a facilitator of suffering. That was more important than having like a doctor, I guess. That's how you know it's a real business. It's worth reading through their release forms to see all the ways they try to dodge lawsuits, like expecting attendees to examine all safety equipment for malfunction, something they are likely not qualified to do, especially because who knows what equipment is involved. The contents of the program are not public, and the release form also forbids you from making them public. Surely, it is the duty of the facilitator of suffering to maintain safety equipment. Otherwise, how has the suffering been facilitated whatsoever? It's just been caused. Anyone can cause suffering, but okay, it's a very tough boy training. You gotta crawl through all sorts of mud and jump in stuff you don't want to jump in, and guys yell at you, and it's gonna make you really, really strong. Now, let me ask you a question. How much are you willing to pay to become the best version of yourself? What do you think is an appropriate price to have sweaty guys yell at you for a weekend until you become a better leader, father, and man? Give it a moment, decide on a figure, write it down on a piece of paper, and whisper your dreams to it. Were you thinking more or less than 18,000 United States dollars? Which also does not include airfare to the project compound. You have to give them $18,000 to fly to their secret compound, their words, to have them do secret stuff on you to make you into a toughie. Do you see what I mean about how this is like how a cult operates, but like they're bragging about the red flags instead of hiding them? But fellas, I hear you. How are we going to get the old battle axe to approve of us learning how to use battle axes? Well, there's also a testimonial section from the wives of men who've completed the program, and guess what? It was good for them.
I'm Steve Eckert, United States Marine, entrepreneur, and instructor of the project. Welcome to another episode of the MDK Wives Show.
I believe so much in the project.
Our family, even just in 1 year, has benefited mentally, socially, physically, spiritually.
I would never say no if he asked me to go and give back to you guys or to connect with you guys. I would never say no. At this point, it's given way too much to my family.
They learned a lot of lessons and became more confident and performance, more entrepreneur than they had been in the past.
You know, and at work, he is a leader.
And so if your husband wants to go better himself, let him.
He's not like a mean, aggressive guy.
Let him do that, because that's going to affect your marriage. It's going to affect your children. It's going to affect your family as a unit.
He's not aggressive, but he's very well-spoken, and now he's not afraid to speak.
It's going to affect your neighbors and your friends and extended family.
Since he's been doing that, he's like skyrocketed at work. It's insane.
The benefits you are meant to receive, but obviously not guaranteed to receive. Let's be clear about that. Obviously, for legal reasons, they're very clear that maybe nothing will happen. They're so vague and poorly thought out that it could be anything. They have all these testimonials from people who've completed the project and, as mentioned, their wives, but none of them seem to be able to actually give an example of the way their lives improved, just that they felt more confident or life was easier in a very abstract, ill-defined way.
I left with enough force and clarity and confidence in myself and my direction to take on whatever was ahead.
Like, I got everything done. I was looking for shit to do. I was finding other areas that didn't even know needed help. I was helping. Like, it was just go time, because everything was just easy after that.
Whether it's on the personal side or in business, I can pick up the phone. I can call one of 60 guys, whatever, of our group, and get help, get some counsel from people, that understand me, and are freaking savages.
So for me, I stuck around, right? I stuck out the 75 hours, amazing experience, and pushing through those hard moments, they were the breakthrough. They were the proof to myself that I'm not going to quit on myself, I'm not going to quit on my team, I'm not going to quit on my family.
Nor is it clear to me the mechanism by which the change is meant to occur. It seems that the idea is that suffering builds character or some shit like that. The same excuse that your dad would make when he wanted you to take out the trash. So they make you crawl around in the mud and get yelled at so that you can prove to yourself you can do difficult stuff, and that's meant to be healing somehow.
Hold yourself accountable. See, you're quit again. You stop fighting.
No, it's not.
When you start fighting, I'll stop dragging you to the bottom of the hill.
But here's a secret tip from me to you. You can do difficult stuff for free. You could right now train to run a marathon. You could learn a second language. You could learn a new skill or some shit like that. And in doing so, you'd actually be demonstrating personal growth, because now you have the discipline required to make actual changes rather than just doing something difficult because a muscly man was yelling at you. The idea that suffering builds character is a weird way to market a program meant to help alleviate suffering.
And so long story short, the project was really created to help men overcome their trauma. But it's wrapped with, hey, come work with the Navy SEAL, work with the Marine, work with an entrepreneur who's going to help you become more productive in life.
Unless your specific problem is a phobia about crawling around in mud, I don't see how doing this actually helps you take responsibility for your problems. If anything, it's like a very unpleasant way to run from responsibility, to attribute everything wrong with your life to some vague, nebulous personal problem you can solve in a weekend, or better yet, pay someone else to solve for you. I did it. I carried a tire through a muddy field or some shit. That's all I needed to do to quit drinking. I'm practically done now. I'm still drinking, but I carried the tire, so now I know I can, so it's easy. It isn't strong to get hard. It isn't hard to get strong, for example, because it's hard to lift heavy stuff. That's the rewarding part of it. It's not because you don't believe you have the capability to lift a heavy thing, and once you learn you can do it, that'll suddenly make it easy. It's hard because you need the discipline to do that for a long, long time. And discipline, by definition, takes time to develop. Now, I don't want to sound snide here. I I feel snide, but I don't want you to notice. But, like, this sucks. It's so shitty to try and trick dudes who are struggling into paying a huge stack of cash and promising you're going to fix any problem they might have, including some pretty serious problems like substance abuse or emotional disorders. It's not only irresponsible, it's actively predatory. It can be difficult to sympathize with people who fall for such an obvious and manipulative scam, particularly one which leans into all of these ugly right-wing stereotypes. But you have to keep in mind that when you're suffering, when you're really down and out, you want to believe there's an answer. It's not a state of mind that lends itself to rational thinking. And it's all justified through this like idea of a crisis in masculinity, that men stopped being real men at some point, and they have to train themselves in order to become men again. At some point, men were stronger and more resilient, more competitive, more success, more dad. Now men are none of those things. They've changed in some way I can't describe exactly, but it's entirely holistic. It's everything about them has changed in that way that I can't describe. It's like what it is they're too soft, or they're too feminine, or they're not strong, but like not in a way that you could measure. It's a vibe. It's a vibe. It's a vibe that men are less like men than men should be. You can tell, right? Don't you feel that too? I mean, not you, obviously. You're obviously man enough, but also you're not, and you need to learn how to be. I don't know, whichever makes you want to give me your money more. To the extent that there is a crisis in masculinity, it's that men, predominantly young men, have been conditioned to think that if they can't live up to some imaginary, unrealistic standard created by pop media and advertising, they're insufficient. That they need to have a six-pack and a penthouse, or they're falling behind and everyone is laughing at them. This is a lucrative feeling to cultivate, which is why the actual crisis here is that bad actors will do everything in their power to create and leverage it. This is not a problem exclusive to men by any means, but it is one that everyone falls prey to. The reason you get so many spam emails about dick enlargement pills, whether or not you even have a dick to jam pills into, isn't because most guys want bigger dicks. It isn't better to have a big dick. That just makes it more difficult to wear shorts. But you can't sell dick pills if people feel okay with their dicks. So you need to convince them that what they have now isn't good enough. You should be embarrassed about whatever it is my product or service does, and only I can fix it for money. Now, multiply that principle to the entire economy and all of the things that we buy and do, and you can see how it creates an atmosphere that leaves people feeling insufficient. A vague, all-encompassing sense of inadequacy that pervades every aspect of your life. Men haven't become less manly. That claim doesn't make any sense. Being manly is just whatever men do. But if men feel like they're not as manly as they should be, well, that's a great marketing opportunity, isn't it? You know what the problem is here is you're drinking apple juice for girls, and it's making you effete and weak. What you need is Grandpa Smith's Apple Blaster, now with creatine. Apple juice for men. You can see this all over the place in the website for the program. Vague appeals to the way that you're meant to feel something is wrong, that your life is spiritually corrupted or meaningless, but they can fix it, of course, by helping you become the way that a man is supposed to be. That's the problem, you see. You're not man enough. Become more man, more strong, more knight. What that means is, of course, intentionally left vague, so you can kind of just insert whatever you want. If they said, for example, that this program helped you attract women, well, I might feel like signing up means I have to admit that I'm bad at that. And that might make me feel bad and embarrassed because I've been conditioned to believe that that makes me bad and embarrassing because it's a helpful thing for advertisers. If they said it'll help me become a successful businessman, I might worry that signing up gives the impression I'm not successful in business yet. And I'm embarrassed about that because I've been conditioned to believe that that is embarrassing because it's a convenient thing for advertisers. But if they just say they'll fix like whatever, if they'll fix just the feeling of shittiness that I have, well, now I'm not admitting anything. Once I become more manly, whatever it is that means to me, I'm cured. This malaise will go away, and I won't have to look in the mirror and confront all the ways I've been made to feel bad about myself. All of the things I've been told are inadequate and embarrassing about me. Those things will solve themselves once I fix the root problem, which is that I didn't give a muscly dipshit $18,000 to yell at my tummy. But look, if you want to suffer, you don't need to pay someone to do that. I can show you a way to suffer for free. The eyeballs. Hello and welcome to the Eyeball Zone. Here in the Eyeball Zone, every evolution is purpose-driven towards putting eyeballs on small projects and creators. We maintain a pretty laser focus on eyeballs here in the Eyeball Zone. Well, not a laser focus. Lasers are actually pretty bad for eyeballs. We do neglect the other sensory organs of the face. And this is most true of perhaps the mouth, one of the most important holes on the human face. Which is why I'd like to talk about the Cathedral Community Fridge, which feeds hundreds of people a day in the Canadian prairies. And they could use our help with funding, among other things, repair and maintenance. And to put that in perspective, I was told to stress the fact that one of the doors, and I quote, blew out of its hinges. Here's what Channel Comrade Re-Education had to say about this project. The Cathedral Community Fridge is a mutual aid organization out of the Canadian prairies that uses decentralized and democratic organizing to end food insecurity instantly. As poverty becomes more extreme, so does the work to lessen suffering to those living in it. Please consider donating, sharing, or engaging to help the Cathedral Community Fridge continue working towards liberation. You'll find links to their GoFundMe campaign and Patreon in the description to this video, as well as their Instagram if maybe you can't contribute financially but you just want to spread the message around. I'm sure any help will be appreciated. Hey, do you have a small project you'd like to crush under the burdens of his gaze? G-A-Z-E. So we're... Send no more than one email to thoughtslimeeditor@gmail.com with the word eyeballs somewhere in the subject line and pertinent details like your pertinent pronouns, and perhaps you will find yourself trapped here in the eyeball zone. Also, hey, look at me. Just look at me, okay? If you just want to email me about a different thing, that's fine. You can email me. But do not use the word eyeballs in the subject line unless you are looking to get something eyeballed. That sucks to do. It's not, that isn't just a general rule for emailing me. I do that so that I can know who needs the eyeballs. Don't think you're gonna beat the system if you do that. I'll just delete your email. I think we can all relate to that problem. Hey, thanks for watching this video. I wanted this to be a quick one, but turns out I'm lazy. I have to start releasing more videos. I know. You know, though, still, I would, if you could like and subscribe to me, would be super duper. Every subscription is purpose driven. In this world, you gotta fight to subscribe to if you can't even fight to subscribe to the YouTube channels you want to subscribe to, how are you gonna fight for your family? Shit like that. You know, like the thing I was talking about in the video. How long do I gotta keep talking? How long do I gotta keep talking, do you think?